So I decided to So I've been reading Mark Fisher's K-Punk book, which is a collection of his blog posts of a site of the same name, K-Punk. And essentially, I have notes and sort of analysis and thoughts on it. So why not just read it? Because the way I do notes and stuff is basically little essays and stuff. So here's this on Mark Fisher's K-Punk. So the first one for this this one's a combination of two different articles into one thing. So the first bit is from Mark Fisher's article, Batman's Political Turn Right. Quote, "Anti-capitalism is nothing new in Hollywood. From Wall-E to Avatar, corporations are routinely depicted as evil. The contradiction of corporate-funded films denouncing corporations is an irony capitalism cannot just absorb, but thrive on. Yet this capitalism is only allowed within limits. But any direct action against the rich or revolutionary moves towards the redistribution of property will lead to a dystopian nightmare." Unquote. Then the next part is from another essay called "Star Wars was a sellout from the start." Quote, "All that Star Wars added to the formula was a certain spectacle. The spectacle of technology via state-of-the-art special effects, and of course the spectacle of its own success, which became part of the experience of the film." Unquote. It's reminiscent of what Jordan Peterson divulged in his 13th 2015 personality lecture on existentialism and its relation to totalitarian regimes of the 20th century, articulating the literal magic embodied, venerated from an item or idealized object, such as Elvis Presley's guitar, saying,
thinking that the things that appear in front of you are merely objects, because they're not. You know, I started thinking about this, for example, when I was thinking about people going down to Graceland to look at Elvis's guitar. You think, what exactly is it that makes a guitar Elvis's guitar? You know, it's not exactly the guitar, because it's just sitting there like any old guitar, you know, and maybe you could even think about it. You could take that guitar out, and you could put another guitar in that looked just like it, and it would still be Elvis's guitar, because no one would know. And you might think, well, then that's not really Elvis's guitar. But that's a funny thing, because you'd only think that if you thought that Elvis's guitar was the thing that was made out of material that was sitting right in front of you. And that isn't what it is. That's only one tiny little bit of it. That bloody thing is a part of an incredibly layered reality, right? I mean, the people who want to go look at that, they're looking at it in some sense because of the magic that's emanating from it. But the magic is actually real. You know, the magic is the effect of that guitar, let's say, on the entire culture. And those effects are the damn guitar too. And it's weird, because when you go look at Elvis's guitar, you're not looking at the guitar. You're looking at the magic. And
be it as grandiose as Elvis' guitar, or the mechanical sounds of Darth Vader inhaling, before igniting his red lightsaber in the smoky corridor of rebel scum trying to save the Death Star plans at the climax of Rogue One, setting the stage for A New Hope. Movies have always had a magical element to them, with their power to enthrall a person, even if the movie itself isn't good as it's understood, as does anything with such a mythical status, which manages to hold itself in the eyes of loving customers, even if more than half of them criticize Disney's handling of the franchises, or Machiavellian theatrics deployed by the USA in Venezuela in recent weeks, or Iran in the last few weeks. Fisher's point adds up. The empire may be a visible parable to systems seen and placed by the day-to-day, but it would be similar to the 2025 film One Battle After Another. A fetish for change in cinema to explore it on the big screen and feel everything in safety. Either way, feeding the criticized apparatus, rinse and repeat, and then there's a big budget box office release. Tomorrow is different, but it's still the same. Film and customizable apparel, whether in line of the corporate oversight or perceived personal preference, lends to a commodified presentation nonetheless, and regardless of individual stance. What such pathos-pulling pieces seem to do is a sort of simulation. It titillates a person's senses enough that they're energized, fired up. Then it dissipates as nothing truly changes quickly enough in one's own lifetime. Yet completely shifts all throughout. Maybe the window dressings change so as to peer out and allow glimpses in, creating an aesthetic, apathetic loop. Rerun after remake, some mimetic comedy is almost a necessary relief. And so, due to largely originating from the 2018 Doomer Wojak meme caricature, the Doomer concept can be likened to a more recent than its conception 8 years ago of a meme. And while dubious in the origin and unlikely to be correct in historical account, most speculation pointing to, upon realizing his loss at Waterloo, Napoleon Bonaparte is purported to have solemnly admonished, quote, "There's nothing we can do," unquote, which was lifted and taken through a spin online around the same time Ridley Scott released a biopic, if you can really call that film a biopic, on the mythical man. Pair the phrase and then paste it onto a melancholic image of the French emperor with the overlaying of a song called Armor Plastique, but usually slowed down with a hint of reverb on for added and implied effect.